Sitting here on my lunch break in my pick 'em up truck and thinking out loud. If you've watched any of my other videos, you might already know that I am an anarchist. I am a non-statist. I do not believe in any form of government or state. You can call me an anarchist, a non-statist, an anti-statist, or a voluntarist. It doesn't really matter. Or just call me Ryan. That's my name. Or the guy that believes in everybody being free. Anyhow, well, what I was thinking about is all this stuff that's going on, and everybody talks about the super rich, the billionaire class, the super, they call it elite, but the wealthy class, and I call them the ruling class, because the ruling class to me is not about how much money you have. There are poor folks that are elitists. They want a government to rule over you. They want someone to tell you how to live and what you can and can't own and do and don't do, what you even can say or not say, or think. They want thought crimes and hate speech crimes and hate crimes and all kinds of crap. But anyhow, this video is not about that. This video is more about the idea, well, first off, true anarchists, true non-statists, we don't believe in trademarks. We don't believe in copyrights or patents. If you invent something, if you want the credit that you're the one that invented it or the first one to come up with it or discover it or make it or design it, great. There's ways to do that. But as an anarchist, I don't believe in copyrights or patents or trademarks. Any of the true non-statist anarchists, that they agree, they don't believe in that. To me, if you write a poem or if you write a song or whatever and you put it out there, it's out there. If you don't want to share things with people because you're worried somebody else is going to copy it and make money off of it, then perhaps you just need to keep it to your damn self. That's just the way I look at it. Anyhow, another thing that exists only because of statism, along with trademarks, patents, and copyrights, and the main topic of this video, what I'm thinking out loud about here, is corporations. You have these civil lawsuits, not criminal lawsuits, but civil lawsuits against, like Pfizer. Pfizer has one of the largest civil lawsuits ever. Did it stop them? No, they're business as usual. And of course, you got presidents like Big Daddy Trump, the proud father of the shot, the mRNA, experimental thing. He gave them a bunch of U.S. tax dollars, Pfizer. But these corporations, all these corporations, they get sued, like Walmart. They get sued for false packaging or whatever, and they just keep on doing it. They don't care. They'll pay their little fine and keep on rocking and rolling. Well, if you'll remember the fines that were put on the tobacco industry, the cigarette industry, because they were chemically working on making cigarettes more addictive and things like that, like the food industry does now. They make the food addictive with the additives they put in and things like that. Well, the cigarette industry hasn't stopped. Philip Morris is still rocking and rolling, and all these others. So the point is that these corporations are paper tigers. They only exist on paper, and they're only recognized because the government recognizes them. So they have a corporate charter, a corporate founding document. U.S. Constitution's a corporate charter. All the constitutions of all the different states in America those are corporate charters because they're corporations. Your local municipal city government, your county government, your state government, the federal government are corporations. And there is a book written by author Richard Kelly Hoskins I read many years ago called In the Beginning. And in the beginning, and right at the forward, he says the merchant must establish the king to protect him and promote his interests. And what he means by the merchant is the businessman has always established the ruling class and backed the ruling class. So government and business always goes hand in hand. By the way, that's not just capitalism, that's communism. Communism is the same thing. Communism, capitalism are two different sides of the same shekel or coin. And that's what they are. And corporations are just like the fiat funny money that we use here for currency of exchange. It's fake. It's paper. It's just written on it and says it's something worthwhile. And with a corporation, it creates like Coca-Cola or Ford Motor Company or Pepsi or Chevrolet, for examples. They only exist on paper. Corporations aren't anything that you can habeas corpus and bring into the courtroom. You can get their lawyers to come in, but you can't get Coca-Cola or Ford Motor Company or Chevrolet Motor Company or Dodge or whatever. You can't get these corporations in the courtroom themselves. They're paper. They don't exist. They're not human beings. So The reason why corporations keep victimizing us and treating us like dog shit is because the organization that's supposed to regulate them, which was created by them. You see, it was the wealthy elite that have founded the United States Constitution, and that's just a fact. It was the filthy, elitist scumbags that decided arbitrarily that they're going to create this wonderful so-called, the founding fathers and their so-called Constitution is a corporate charter founding a corporation called the United States government. There's no lawyer with a salt that would even argue that with you. He would agree that, yeah, government is corporations. They are corporate bodies. Because you can't take the United States government, or you can't take the state of Texas government, the state of Massachusetts. You can't put them in jail or hang them or punish them individually. It's a corporate body. And people hide behind the corporate name and the corporations. So it's on paper. Corporations are on paper. And that's what needs to change. That's one of those things that needs to change. Is corporations only exist when there's when there's statist system. So Ford Motor Company, it doesn't matter if you and your family start a business, right? Making birdhouses or delivering birthday cakes. You start a business, a service or a good or whatever, and you call it a name. That's cool. And you come up with a logo, and you maybe even have a motto or a saying or something like that for your company or for your corporation. That's great. But to me, it should be that there's no bringing corporations in. There's individuals that are behind those corporations, just like there's individual politicians behind government, right? Corrupt government or whatever. It's individuals. It's like cops have they have their immunity, which they shouldn't. It's because they're acting under the color of law, because they're acting as a representative of whoever their employers, if they're a city cop or county cop or a federal cop, like FBI or a federal marshal or something. So they're operating what's called official capacity. And so they can just get away with anything, it doesn't matter, right? So for me, I don't mind the idea of a corporation exists in your mind. But if I can't habeas corpus or bring the body in before an alting, before the white-hand, before a community court, if I can't point to that person and hold them responsible for something they've done, like, these corrupt organizations, the big pharma, big food industry, the merchant industry, the retail industry like Walmart, all these different organizations that are called corporations that are screwing people up, they're hiding behind that paper. Individuals aren't taken and held personally responsible. You see, the CEOs started being held personally responsible for things that their corporations do, but they're not, because they get to hide behind that paper. So you make a paper organization and you can hide behind it. You create a straw man. You create Coca-Cola or Ford Motor Company. I'm not picking on them. I'm just using them examples. It can be Pfizer, it can be Walmart, whatever. It can be Caterpillar, it can be John Deere Corporation, whatever. In the end, to me, with a statist system, it recognizes this collective group, this paper-created organization, as a real legal entity. And again, what is legal is not necessarily moral or right or ethical, and what is illegal is not necessarily wrong or immoral or unethical. Legalism is the statist game. It's the game of the statist. So I talk about in my law about common law and natural law. There, if you watch my video, common law is statist law. It's the common law. It's the common court's traditions. So a lot of these so-called sovereign people, they call them sovereign citizens, but the sovereign people that are into all that, and I respect their points of view on certain things. But when they call common law or the court record, court precedent, and they act like that it defines what moral and immoral is, or immoral is, it's wrong. The record of the king's courts, and here in America, Uncle Sam is a king, and he is a goddamn tyrant. Those court records is just the records of what they do, so yeah, if you want to set things on court precedents or, some sort of ruling, that's a precedence, a ruling in a courtroom and things like that, but you're going by the statist system. Instead of a law that we all understand basic natural law, basic morality, just being kind to our fellow species, our fellow man. And corporations and government go hand in hand. And I would love to see, statism and government just go the way of the dodo bird and become extinct. The same thing as with corporations would go with it. So you got to have corporations. It is corporations that set up, or the merchants, if you will, from that quote I just cited, that will set up the status system or the king to promote them and protect their interests. It's not just capitalist jackasses like Donald Trump that do that. Communists do the same thing. And so it's not about, that's why I'm not an anarcho-capitalist or anarcho-communist. I'm just an anarchist. I don't believe in rulers, period. And if your ruling is based on, well, all the people have to collectively own something and it's owned by the state. Well, the state is a corporation. That's why I disagree with communism. But then so did Bakunin, the Russian anarchist. He had enough wisdom. He finally realized what Karl Marx was up to, and that Karl Marx was actually only representing the Rothschilds. And that's actual document from the anarchist Bakunin. He thought communist Marx was the same thing as his anarchism, and he realized it wasn't. That communism and capitalism are just two different sides of the same shekel, the same dirty coin, or printed fiat funny money. Corporations are the bane of humanity. It is what's caused us so much problems. We talk about these big, what is it, the tech things they're building now that takes up all the water and all this type of shit. These are corporations, these big tech people, whether it's YouTube or whoever it is. The Odyssey, Rumble, it doesn't matter. BitChute, these are corporations too. And they're going to look out for their best interest. A corporation is a blind, deaf monster that has no empathy. It's a psychopath. Government is psychopathic. All forms of government, local government to national government, state government, county government, to communist governments, capitalist governments, monarchies, parliaments. It doesn't matter. Military dictatorships, they're all nothing but corporate bodies, and they're psychopaths. And I believe you have to be a psychopath, or at least someone who has quelled and pushed down your empathy to be in government, even local government. Because government is force and violence. That's all it is. And ironically, the jackass George Washington, one of the wealthy elitists that founding fathers so many people here in America just worship, also said that government was not eloquence and that it was force and violence. Then you have the other hypocrite, Ronald Reagan, President Ronald Reagan, who said government is not the solution, it's the problem. Let's stick to that. That's the truth. Corporations, whether they're governments or they're private corporations, all suck. Whether the government's a communist or capitalist. Because they're all paper tigers. They're all pretend. Coca-Cola and Ford Motor Company, corporations like that, or the United States federal government, or the state of Wisconsin, that government there, or the county you live in's government. Those are all corporations, and they all get to pass the buck. And the people get to act, and I'm acting in official capacity of my company or official capacity of the government, and you get away with sometimes murder. So, to me, people need to start looking at corporations and realizing without government, there is no corporations. And without corporations, people that have a business or offer a service or a good or whatever and have a business, that's fine. I'm all for free market. I'm not for capitalism. I'm sorry, some of these anarchists got it wrong. Capitalism, they call themselves anarcho-capitalists. Capitalism is not free, has nothing to do with free market. Now, I believe in free market in just the normal market, people just doing business with each other. Corporations is what allows. See, free market doesn't work for corporations because corporations become huge monsters. They become capitalist, and it's the top of the pyramid. It's when I was a kid, we used to play King of the Mountain. We'd get on a big hill or a mountain or hill as a kid, even if it was just a sand hill or whatever, at a construction site, and we would fight who could be the king of the hill, right? Well, that's the same thing. The old fang and claw, the scratch and claw your way up to the top on the backs of other people and climb over them so you can get to the top. That's capitalism. That's not free market. Free market is where everybody just wants to make a good living, offer a good service or product or whatever, and the market decide if you do a good one or not. That's free market. But when you create corporations, it ain't just a family group or just a group of people working together to have a business or a service. And these corporations, it's in my opinion that businesses get too big. In anarchy, we understand the old social science rule of most people can only know about 150 people that know their name and have some sort of meaningful intimate knowing of one another as personal friends or whatever. About 150 people is the cap, the human mind as an average. Well, to me, a business, in my opinion, I can't see why a business would need more than 50 people for that matter. That when you have bosses and supervisors who don't have enough, they're far removed and they don't personally know you. they don't really know you. They may recognize you, but they really, as the businesses and corporations get bigger, the employees start getting lost in the mix. And then you have this thing called human resources. As I have told the boss here, one time, I said, we're not cogs in your machine. We're human beings just like you. And as they try to, introduce a lot of computer stuff at work and human resources, and they try to make everything distant. Oh, you can do everything on your phone now. They do all this. They're trying to distance themselves. It's not about efficiency. Oh, it's efficiency, all right. They just want to make money, and they don't want to have to deal with employees and have human contact one-on-one and talk to them about their problems, or, that things, something wrong with their paycheck, or there was a mistake or something, instead of having to go through all that. This is the society where everyone wants to get more and more impersonal. It's the same thing with the internet. People become so hateful and toxic in the comment sections and stuff like that on social sites and YouTube and stuff like that, which YouTube is a social site, that this is the hiding behind things instead of just being yourself. Like me, if I comment under a video, I know people can go to my channel and they can say I'm a real person with real videos, and I just make videos for fun, just whatever I want to talk about. I'm not interested in trying to become YouTube famous or be a YouTube creator or make money off YouTube or anything like that. I just post what I want for friends or family, or just for the fun of it. Like this video here, I don't know who's going to watch it. The thing of it is that anarchy is not capitalism. It's about freedom. That would include freedom as in free market to just do your own little thing. You want a way to make money or whatever to feed your family and put a roof over your head and things like that. But to me, I think it still should be individuals having a business. It shouldn't be corporations and corporate execs that get to hide behind paper and their lawyers that they can send in to represent the corporation, not themselves. So just like you can't sue Uncle Sam, you can sue the federal government, but you can't and have them brought into court, have some of their lawyers or something brought in, or a company. You can't bring Ford Motor Company or Pepsi or Coca-Cola into a courtroom, only their lawyers. And that's because of statism. Statism and corporatism are the same thing. Statism and communism are literally the same thing. Statism and capitalism are literally the same thing. Capitalism and communism. Capitalism works when it abuses the general idea of free market. It turns into a big paper monster and becomes a gang, and the government recognizes that corporation. So the corporations are able to get away with shit, and the executives and everyone gets to sit back and, the corporation gets sued. What's the worst they're going to do? Maybe change their company's name, get a new tax number, and keep on doing business. You see how that works? I hope this video's made somebody think about something. To me, as an anarchist, I would like to see statism totally abolished, man, evolve past governments and all that, and have communities and things like that, and voluntary interactions. I would like to see free market where people can, they want to make a living some way or the other, or however they want to do things, and it's their business. Literally their business, no pun intended, but it's also their business, what they do with their life. But when you create these corporate monsters, and I stop saying like, well, this is John and Jane Doe, they have this business, they have this store, or this construction company, or taxi service, or whatever it is, but it's individuals. They can call it a name, that's fine. Like I said, you can call it a name and have a logo or whatever, and a motto even. But in the end, it should be just you. It should be executives brought into goddamn court and sued. How about forget the civil shit? How about criminal shit? Like what Walmart does, what Big Pharma does. I think CEOs need to be personally held responsible. But then again, I believe in morality. I believe in natural law. And I believe in freedom. And I also believe you're free to suffer the consequences and shouldn't be able to hide behind a corporate name and your corporate lawyers. Fuck corporations, fuck capitalism, fuck communism, and fuck the government. And hell freedom for you and me.